Hi.
What up, dudes?
What up, dudes? Oh. Hello. No.
Oh, the coconut.
Oh my god.
I was ready to die. So I'm here with Klara from Spirit Vehicle. We're going to talk about a condition that Klara has, and she uses psychedelics to treat it. There's not too many videos on YouTube about it, so I wanted to make one.
Yeah.
I'll let Klara kind of talk about it a bit.
So, my condition is called cluster headaches, and really I think the word headache is kind of like inappropriate because it suggests that it's like just a normal headache. Their nickname is suicide headaches, so that probably gives you a little bit of a better clue about what we're dealing with here. What happens is there is blood vessels that are traveling over this particular nerve in my head, and this hyperactivity in my hypothalamus causes the blood vessel to swell up over this nerve, and it basically simulates like having your face ripped off. Apparently that's apparently what it is said to be like.
And it's not a head pain, it's in your eye.
It's in your eye, in your temple, in your teeth. It makes your eye droop. Basically, that's another thing. It's one-sided, so your whole face goes like, and like your eye waters, your nose waters, and it's sort of like, the best way I described this, what I was saying to you the other day, is it's like brain freeze, but it's like boiling hot brain freeze. Actually, this is really not good for it. Like this sun on my face right now. So I can't get too hot. Anything that makes your blood vessels swell up makes it worse, and anything that makes your blood vessels shrink, so like coffee, oxygen, weirdly enough, makes your blood vessels do something called vasoconstriction, so they go like that rather than like that. So I will wake up at like 3 a.m. and just like back a double espresso or like back a Red Bull. But if all else fails and I don't have oxygen with me, so we're in Bali right now and the oxygen companies are being a little bit shifty, so ended up having to pay like a whole load more, so I've had to find some like alternative methods to try and get rid of the headaches instead.
It's been working kinda.
Yeah, it has. If I catch it early enough, it's...
So if you were to get one, you didn't have caffeine.
I'm starting to get one now, because we've just been sat in like direct sunlight, like beating down on me. So what I might have to do in a minute, because I'm out of coffee, we're ages away from anywhere, I have to take these injections. I'll get it out. So it's called Immigram, but it's also known as Imitrex. And basically it comes in this little thing. I'm 100% starting to feel shadowy.
Okay, should we stop?
No, it's fine. I may just actually have to take an injection. So right now, I'm starting to get one, and I'm starting to panic a little bit.
So we're going to have to stop the video there. We'll pick it up again later.
Sorry guys, I'm getting a freaking headache, so I've got to inject my body.
We started to film this video a few days ago, but then Klara was getting a cluster headache because we were sitting in the sun.
Yeah, that was silly on my part.
So now we're back. Because I'm not the one that gets the cluster headaches, I'm going to let Klara do most of the explaining, but I know that it's the most pain a person can feel. It's more painful than childbirth.
Yeah, and amputation without anaesthetic.
It's nicknamed suicide headaches because 1 in 10 people kill themselves because of the pain, and because there's not a lot of things to treat it.
So the pain is pretty much universally described as being a little bit like a hot poker, being jabbed into your temple and into your eye. The way that I describe it, it's like brain freeze. That whenever I've had brain freeze, for a split second I'm like, ooh, is that a cluster headache starting? It's like that, but hot almost. And the reason why it's so debilitating is because it really makes life just kind of a little bit terrifying. If you imagine that you sort of had like somebody over your leg with a chainsaw, being like revving it, like, you're gonna have your leg cut off? All day, up to 15 times a day. You start to get a little bit of an idea of what it's like to live with this condition, because it's always just sort of threatening, and it's always looming over your head. there are two types of cluster headaches. You can either get episodic cluster headaches, where it will strike at the same time each year for maybe like a few months, or you get them like I do, where it's chronic, so you just don't really get a break. But they tend to occur at the same time every day, at the same time of every year, regardless. And that's because of its association with this time regulating body clock part of the brain called the hypothalamus. More men than women get them, and only about 0.2% of the population get them at all. And so normal painkillers like aspirin, paracetamol, ibuprofen, anything like that just doesn't work. It doesn't even touch the sides.
Yeah, I've lived with Klara now for like 3 weeks. And it's
Poor Jason.
it's not fun. She has to do so many things just to feel normal.
Yeah. On a lighter note, because of that, because when I'm suffering with them, it's so intense and it's just like this panicky mode of like, what do I do? What it means is then when I'm not having them, I really, really appreciate life in like a really deep way. Like right now, I'm just so good to be not feeling it, and I feel so relieved and grateful to not have it.
Yeah.
In a way, it really does make me appreciate life in like a deeper way. Which is one good thing, because I wouldn't have that did I not have this condition. I wouldn't have that deep level of appreciation, which I hope other people who have cluster headaches, I really hope if you're not feeling that, like it's so important that we do try and like appreciate life outside the headaches. So if you are feeling miserable and hopeless, I know that feeling, dude, but just try and enjoy the in-between bits as much as you can, because that's what makes life worth living. Because suicide is such a huge risk, it means that death is a very big possibility for people that suffer with this. Simply just because it's just unbearable. That's literally what it is. It's just very, very hard to take. And when you think about like the rest of your life having to deal with it, it just becomes quite an overwhelming thought. We're making this video because I, along with many other cluster heads, have discovered that there is something which can take the headaches away. And you were super happy to learn about this.
So we found out today that Albert Hoffman was trying to find a cure for cluster headaches and what else was it? Migraines. And then he accidentally discovered LSD. But LSD actually does help, or can help with cluster headaches, along with psilocybin, DMT, and ketamine.
And I personally have tried 3 of those to cure my cluster headaches.
Yeah.
I can say that in terms of preventing them, so you can abort a cluster headache. Basically it means getting like one mushroom, holding it under your tongue for like 10 minutes at the onset of the headache. The headaches come on so quickly, it's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've seen that, like 1 minute you're like la 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 la, next minute you're like ah. They come on super fast, and they also disappear like that quickly as well. And so if you can feel them coming on, what you can do is put one little bit of mushroom under your tongue, and it will get rid of the headache within like 10 minutes. LSD works again really well, and it prevents them, so you can take it and you will not have another headache. For chronic sufferers, it can be a few days. Episodic sufferers, it can last up to weeks and months, and even stop the whole cycle for the whole year. One thing that I've tried which worked the most miraculously was just a few tiny little granules of DMT. Now, I've never taken it so that I sort of blasted off into the DMT realm, but I have taken it simply just to get rid of the headache that I was getting, and within seconds, it's literally as if it just melted it away.
Because these are suicide headaches, people have the option of killing themselves or breaking the law to try and fix it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of people don't want to die, they don't mind breaking the law to try and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's illegal, there's not a lot of videos out there or information out there about how this works, how it can help. That's why I'm giving Klara a platform right now. It's because my channel is about psychedelics. If there's anything that like psychedelics can help with, I'm going to bring it up. And
this is such a serious thing, and so few people have it. But I know that you guys out there that do have it, you need a video like this. So people become more aware of it.
Yeah. We don't promote the use of illegal substances. Yeah, this is for educational purposes only. We can't promote use of them, so don't do them. The
method called cluster busting is reasonably strict. People who are taking Imitrex or Imigran, which is the horrible sumatriptan injection for your cluster headaches, you're going to need to detox from that, because that massively interferes with whatever it is in the hallucinogenics which fix the headache problem. So you need to not take any Imitrex, any sumatriptan for at least a week. In fact, it's suggested that you come off of all of your medication for cluster headaches, and for a week just use oxygen, which for most people is extremely effective. What you want to do at the end of the 7 days is you can use a sub-hallucinogenic dose, so not enough to even trip, but I would recommend taking enough to feel something, because you really want to sort of like blast out the water completely. But I would leave 5 days in between my doses to allow for what is called the shutting the door effect to pass. And the shutting the door effect is basically where your brain has these receptors for the parts that come off of the mushrooms and the psilocybin. So your brain basically, once it's received them, it does this thing that's almost like shutting the door, so it doesn't allow any more. So that's why sort of like veteran acid heads back in the 60s would know to always leave a few days in between their trips. It's to allow the brain to sort of like process it and then open up and be ready for it again. So I leave 5 days in between my trips, and it takes me, I'd say, about 5 solid trips, so about 5 weeks it takes me. But then I get a nice long remission period, and because mine are chronic, they do come back pretty quickly. But for those of you who are episodic cluster headache sufferers, you'll get, I mean, anything from a year to like, more, which is amazing.
Can it work for microdosing?
Yeah, so that's what I want to try next. There was a guy who we just watched his video, and he was talking about how he takes 1.5 to 2 grams of mushrooms every week to keep his headache at bay. So one of the most widely prescribed drugs that is taken for cluster headaches is a drug called verapamil. Now, it's a calcium channel blocker, meaning that it's basically like heart medicine. And this is just a story I wanted to tell just to prove how dangerous the things that are currently being prescribed for this condition are. Like, it's so dangerous. So I was in Los Angeles and I was having so many headaches, and over there I was struggling to get prescribed oxygen, but they would happily prescribe me Percocet, which is, I mean...
That's in rap songs.
Huh?
That's in rap songs.
Yeah. Because yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, so Percocet is sort of like pharmaceutical heroin. I took it and it just would make me vomit. Like, I remember I tried to go to dinner once on Percocet, and I was just like, and I was literally like, why can't they just give me oxygen? Like, I just want oxygen. Or like, why would I go to jail if I was to take like mushrooms or whatever? They're prescribing me this like madness in a tablet. So I took, just to see if it would work, stupidly, I took only 2 more of my verapamil tablets, and I woke up a few hours later and I just felt wrong. Like, that's the only way I can describe how I felt. I just felt wrong, and I was like, okay, I need to go to the doctor right now. So I took myself to hospital, and they did some tests, and they were like, oh my god, like, your heart is 3/4 of the way shut down, and your heart has like these backup systems. So if one section of it fails, it has like a backup, and if that fails, it has a backup, and if that fails, it has another backup. And like 3 out of 4 of mine had shut down just because I'd taken 2 more of these verapamil tablets. I was all like rigged up to all sorts of crazy drips, and I was saying to them like, am I gonna die? And they were like, we don't know, maybe. And I was like, oh god, like, what have I done? I've only taken 2 more. So that just goes to show how dangerous how dangerous these chemicals are, and really lethal, actually, because I very, very nearly died. And they were like, oh, you are going to have to spend 2 weeks now in hospital. I have a super recovery body, so I left the next day, luckily. But still, it's left a very long and lasting effect on me. And now I tried to, like, my doctor was like, it's probably safe for you to go back on verapamil now if you want to try it. And I took 1 tablet and was so savagely sick that my body was just like, no. And so I was just vomiting for like hours as my body was just trying to get this the hell out of my system. So I can't take that anymore. That's why it's a real shame that it's illegal, because if I was more like many people in the world who are very conscious of not breaking the law, then I would have no options at this point. My life would be either sit indoors and not move due to me needing to constantly be attached to this huge oxygen tank, or kill myself. Because honestly, as dramatic as that does sound, that becomes a very appealing option when you are in the thick of it and when you have been indoors and unable to go outside for very long and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I think I'm done talking about that.
Okay, so Albert Hoffman accidentally found a cure to what he was. How is it an accident if he was trying to find a cure then? He found it.
Yep.
So he found what he was looking for.
Yep. And it's still not used as a treatment for it. That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Is that he found the cure, like the best cure, because it's. I believe it's used also to treat migraines. It's not just psychedelics it works for. And the fact that it's not prescribed is insane.
If anyone out there actually gets cluster headaches, please tell us what you do about it in the comments.
Yeah, and I can give you advice.
Klara will be down there, yeah.
I'll be down there with you, like, oh, there's no cure. There's no cure. Right now, there's no cure. You can have like implanted electrodes put in your brain, and you can have like different types of surgery. But that's very, very invasive and scary, and a lot of people aren't too keen on that option.
Right. Okay, so I've left links to a whole bunch of videos and articles backing up what Klara's saying, so it's not just coming from there. Found this interesting. Leave a like, subscribe, check out Klara's channel. Hello. Hello.
Hi! Yeah, it's definitely nearly had its wicked way with me a few times, but I've hung in there and I've stuck it out, and I'm so grateful I have, because I found that you can have a normal life. You just have to be willing to take a risk, and luckily the side effects of this particular type of medication are above and beyond anything you could ever imagine. It took away my anxiety, it took away any depression, and it just connected me to something higher than myself. And I really mean that. I don't mean that in sort of like a wishy-washy way. It can be taken, like, it really, these medicines are not just for the body, and really weren't just for my head. They were for my soul as well.
Bye.